Lovely. Saif, how many participants do we have?
23.
Okay, that's a fair amount. So guys, I would like this session to be, well, as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions, feel free to, raise your hand, give me a shout out, wherever there's a pause. And well, if you have any questions, maybe I can answer, maybe the rest of the participants can answer. Plus, it would be really helpful if you have a pen and paper handy, right? You can take a few notes, jot down a few doubts that you get, etc. Okay, so let's start off with Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, and yeah, let me get on to the PPT mode. Okay, to begin with, soft skills. What do you guys get in your mind? Over to you, participants.
Yeah, soft skill, nothing but communication, like the way we communicate with each other.
Okay, that's a fair answer. Anyone else?
Social communication, interacting, given leadership also.
Yep, people skills. How do you interact with people? Personal level, right. Professional level. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Anybody else has anything they would like to add here? Okay, that's quite an interesting gist that we've had over here. So before we begin, so this is what we are going to be covering over here. And as you can see on the screen, this would be the agenda for today, and including these 6 or 7 points that we have. You see, the concept of soft skills is not very well defined. So you could add anything else from this list and you could remove anything from this list. But all of them would come under, being soft skills. That would be the primary difference between a hard skill and a soft skill, where a hard skill has a concrete definition, but a soft skill does not. All right?
Assalamu alaikum.
Sorry, anybody had a question?
The PPT looks blurry, not able to read anything.
Exactly. The PPT isn't clear.
Perhaps something to do with your bandwidth? Maybe it's something like buffering or something like that?
No, it's not visual properly. So can you just
okay, one moment. Let me stop my video. Appearing fine now?
That's still the same.
No.
Okay. Pause share and then restart it. Okay, let's see if that works.
Much better now.
Much better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So a quick recap of the previous slide. This is what I was speaking about. Here are the topics that we are going to be covering. Okay. So as I was saying, these are some of the topics we will cover. However, different presenters and different sources may have, different definitions of what could be the important soft skills, right? So these are as close as we can get over here, and let's start into it. Okay. As many of you rightly said, soft skills are nothing but people skills, as opposed to hard skills that can be, constitute to be your technical skills and your educational based skills. These are your people skills. All right.
Sorry to interrupt, Yaseen bhai. Again, we are getting the same blur screen.
Oh, must be everything to do with the network rather than the presentation. Let's give it a minute. I'm sure to settle down. I'll not move from slide to slide very quickly.
Okay.
Okay. So why do you think soft skills are important, folks?
Because
job hunt.
Very good. What else?
To improve our daily life.
Improve our daily life. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Like how to communicate with others, body language.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. We had one more participant trying to chip in. Go ahead.
The more better the soft skills are, the more better for interacting with the corporate world.
Yep. And of course, not just your corporate world, it could also make, a difference in your personal life too. Won't it?
Yes.
Of course. So guys, quick question. Is my screen clear right now?
No, sir.
No, Yaseen, still it's blur.
Okay. Are all participants facing the same thing?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay, let's give it a minute, though I'm on a
Yes.
hardwired connection. So anybody here from a technical background who perhaps can troubleshoot? Why isn't Zoom presenting it correctly?
It seems okay now.
Yeah, now it's fine.
Okay. Well, every time I need to stop sharing and create a new share, it's fine. All right, guys, have a look at what's on the screen. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
No, Yaseen.
Okay, we're all good here.
Yes.
Someone has a question.
I think so. It's fine. You can start now.
Okay.
Is the audio on? I'm not able to hear anything.
Yaseen bhai, you're there? I think none of us are able to hear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a minute, I'll call him. Just.
Okay.
He has just restarted his PC. He'll join you in 1 minute, maybe.
No issue.
Hey guys, sorry about the interruption over there. Zoom had locked me out for some, well, unknown reason. I hope I am audible to all.
Yes, Yaseen.
Okay. Well, hopefully, without further ado, let's continue. And yeah, I won't be going full screen. That might be causing the problem. Okay. So here we have seen what are soft skills and how they are different from hard skills, which are basically your technical skills, which are, linked to your education and to your professional background, right? But the most important thing here is your resume will get you an interview, but you need your soft skills to, one, convince the interviewer that you're really set for the job and that you can work well with the team. And second, even when you do crack the interview, it is essential to keep progressing within the organization to maintain your job and get to the next levels. All right. So those basically are your soft skills. Okay. So as we all discussed, here are some of the importance of soft skills which have been mentioned here. As the participants rightly said, it helps in your interpersonal relations because, as you all know, the foundation and the cornerstone of any relation is good communication, and soft skills are vital to that. Okay, they also help take certain decisions which would be appropriate. All right, and lastly, it helps you have a good impression and helps in both professional and personal development. All right. Any questions on the importance of soft skills?
No, Yaseen.
No.
All right, lovely. Moving on. So here's some of the soft skills that we would be discussing. All right. However, at the end of the slide, if you have something more that you want to add, well, feel free to. This would pay well. The more the merrier kind of a thing. So these are some of the things I would be covering. But if you feel there is something else that should be covered, is essential for a soft skill perspective, and helps people perceive you better, well, feel free to share. All right. So the first one to start off with would be our communication skills, right? So why do you think communication skills are important, apart from the points that are listed here? Over to you, participants.
In simple terms, it's just to convey what we mean to say. Because if you're not able to do that, then the other person will not understand and won't entertain you.
Absolutely right. Well, anybody else wants to chip in?
Yeah, communication skill is it should be conveyable. Communication would be done with the two person. Like one should understand that's how we can say the communication skill.
Yeah, that's correct, Mohammed. Okay. What you said is absolutely correct. So let's have a quick video here. I hope it works when I click on this. Yeah. Well, there might be an advertisement or two, well, before or, at the end of it. Well, please bear with that. So this is a very useful video that I found on communication skills. And let me know if you can see this. Is it visible to all and audible to all?
No, yes.
Yeah. No?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can see this YouTube page, right?
No, we can only see the PPT.
Is it? Okay. Let's try making a few changes. Okay, what about now?
Yeah,
Can
now
see.
is good.
Yes.
Okay. Let me know if you can also hear the audio.
No, yes, Ruby.
You can't?
Yes.
Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. Let's continue then.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Let's connect after the video. Unless we can't see it.
Yasin, by the video audio is not seen.
Sorry, are you not getting the audio?
No.
Okay, let's try something new then. Let me know if it works now.
Recipe for great communication.
Yes.
If we were going to think about our communication as a meal, what are the ingredients that we need to have present in the meal? How do we put together a great meal? Well, let's think about it this way. There are really 5 ingredients that have to be present all the time. for great communication to be possible. All right, the first ingredient is clarity. How do you make your point clearly? It's got to be clear. The second ingredient is brevity. How do you get to the point quickly? How do you not waste people's time? The third ingredient is context. How do you help people see how your point or how your message fits in for them? How does it make sense for them? The fourth ingredient is impact. How do you make it stand out? How do you make it memorable? And the fifth ingredient is value, which is fairly self-explanatory. How do you make your message valuable for the people who are consuming it? 5 ingredients that will go into every communication meal: clarity, brevity, context, impact, and value. Okay, great. So we've got our ingredients. Now the next question is, how much of each ingredient do we need? And just like cooking a great meal, that's going to depend. Different meals are going to need different ingredients. They're going to need the ingredients in different proportions. And different audiences are going to have different palates. They're going to want different things out of their meal. So the really savvy communicator is going to look at their row of ingredients and is going to be able to determine, based on the audience that they're preparing their message for, what ingredients need to be dominant. So how do you figure it out? Well, when do we need clarity to be an important ingredient? Well, when there's a lot of complexity around the situation or around the issue, you need to make sure that your message includes plenty of clarity so people understand what this is really about. When do we need a bit of brevity? Well, when time is short, when we think attention spans are short, when your audience is going to be very, very senior, you want to make sure you have enough of the brevity ingredient. How about context? Well, maybe when there's unfamiliarity with the topic, or maybe when you're communicating with people that have a lot on their mind, or are walking in to listen to you, having just come from something very, very confusing, you probably want to make sure you use plenty of the ingredient context. How about impact? When do we need to have a lot of impact in our messaging? Well, when there's a lot of noise, when we really need to work hard to make it memorable, right? When we really want it to stand out, and we think that's going to be hard to achieve. We got to make sure we add plenty of impact. And then the fifth and final is value. And I think when there's skepticism, when there's choice, when there's competition, when a decision has to be made, and there are other choices that could be made, we have to work hard to make sure that there's plenty of value in the meal that we're creating. All 5 of these ingredients are going to be present in every meal that you create, in every communication that you put together. You always want to make sure that you have some clarity and some brevity and some context and some impact and some value. But depending upon who you're cooking for, depending on who you're preparing for, you're going to make choices of which of those ingredients needs to be most dominant. Think about your communication like you're preparing a meal for an audience and you want to impress them. You want them to have a great experience. And different audiences have different palates, which means you have to adjust the ratios of the ingredients depending upon the situation.
Okay. Guys, coming back, I hope everyone enjoyed the video and was able to see it correctly. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. I believe I'm audible.
Yes.
Please proceed.
Okay.
Yes,
so,
sir.
I hope you all enjoyed the video over there.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So, if I were to ask you, what was the single most ingredient of it all? What do you think the answer is?
Clarity.
Okay. Any other opinion? Someone's saying impact, all 5. Well, actually, all of you are right. However, the most important ingredient is your audience, is your listener, right? Is the person you're trying to communicate with, right? If you do not have that person's attention and he's not getting your message, there is really no point to it. So honestly, the most important ingredient, though it was not mentioned in the video, is your audience, right? It could be a single person, it could be a group of people like we have here. So keep in mind that your audience is your primary stakeholder here. All right, any questions on this? No. I believe not. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. It's called body language. So guys, when you think of body language, what do you get in your mind?
The expression.
Okay, yeah, facial expressions, excellent. What else?
The way we sit, if we touch our face, how we fidget with our hands. If we have eye contact, that is a bit general. Yeah, the way you enter a room, so on.
Exactly. Anything else?
Discipline.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Sir, discipline.
Discipline, which would be converted to your bodily movements, I would say, not just discipline. Discipline is more abstract, I would say. Would you agree? Well, what you've said is absolutely correct. So yes, body language is how we, use our face, our arms, our legs, our body posture, etc., and how that is perceived by the, opposite person, by your audience. You see, most of our communication is non-verbal, and body language forms a big part of your non-verbal communication. So here we are going to see another quick video, which will, show us how body language is perceived, right? So as you correctly said, it's a lot to do with your face, the way we interact, the way we, shake hands, or what we do with our hands.
Body posture.
Let me know if you can see it. Audible and visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Communication is only 7% verbal and 93% nonverbal. The nonverbal component is made up of 55% body language and 38% tone of voice. In this video, we will focus on body language. Our body responds to our thoughts. Let's see a few common body postures we take in our day-to-day life. Having the left leg crossed on the right indicates one wants to be challenged, listening with non-acceptance. Having the right leg crossed on the left indicates one wants to be liked. Crossing your arms during a conversation makes you look defensive and disinterested. Leaning back too much, you seem to be lazy or carefree. Leaning forward can seem aggressive. Breaking eye contact and fidgeting can make you seem untrustworthy or overly nervous. Nodding too much during a conversation indicates a person is easy to influence and makes you look like a bobblehead doll. Chopping or pointing with your fingers shows aggression and sometimes rudeness. Holding your hands behind your back indicates curiosity and arouses suspicion. Keeping your hands in your pockets indicates casual and sometimes secretive mindset. Looking up or looking around indicates someone is lying or not present in the conversation. Staring can be interpreted as aggressive. There's a fine line between holding someone's gaze and staring them down. Failing to smile can make people uncomfortable and wonder if you really want to be there. Steepling hands indicates person is confident about something. Clasping your hands indicates nervousness or being fearful. Holding palms up conveys weakness or surrender. Standing with hands on hips is an aggressive posture, like a bird or a dog, puffing themselves up to look bigger. Checking your phone or watch during a conversation says you want to be somewhere else. Plus, it's just bad manners. Shaking your leg while sitting indicates one wants to move on and not stay in the moment. Walking with heads down indicates low in confidence. So, what should you do? Be in awareness that your body represents your thoughts and communicates to other person accordingly. Some suggestions for making a better impression. Step 1. Become aware of your thoughts. Step 2. Become aware of your body. A wrong body language can convey the wrong intention. So, take a deep breath. Make a choice, correct your thought, and change your posture. If crossing arms, keep your arms on your sides. If leaning backwards, begin sitting straight. Change your chair and move out of comfort zone. If leaning forward, aim for neutral pose. If breaking eye contact, hold eye contact, especially during handshake, and try to be still. If nodding, nod once in a while, not at every point. If chopping, pointing, fidgeting, to be avoided at all costs. If holding hand back, or in pockets, aim for a natural, hands on the side posture. Pay attention, so that you naturally hold eye contact, smile, and be yourself. Empower yourself. Your body communicates the way you think. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel, like, share, and comment. To know more, visit our website.
Okay. Guys, coming back, I hope we all enjoyed that video.
Yes.
Okay. So, again, what was the primary takeaway of this session over here with body language?
Be self-aware of your body and your thoughts.
Exactly. So that I would say would be the most important thing. Whenever you are with someone, speaking with someone, also have what you are thinking in your mind, be aware of it, right? You might be thinking something and that would be picked up by the other person. Okay. So if you're talking to a friend and then you're glancing at your watch, he's going to know or she's going to know, well, you'd rather be somewhere else and you're running out of time, right? So it's very, very important. And this happens subconsciously, right? But the other person can definitely pick it up. So be in the moment, be aware, and focus on your audience or the person you're trying to communicate with. All right. Any questions on body language, or shall we move on to the next one?
Yes, next, please.
All right. Moving on, we have something called as decision making or making decisions. You see, this factor is dependent upon several other criteria, as we know. The reason is the information that we have at this moment might not be 100%. And even if it's 100%, it might not always be current, right? It's like whether to, carry a raincoat when you go outside or not. You might not have checked the weather report. Even if you did check, it would say, hey, there's just a 10% chance of rain. but then you go outside, you're returning home and you get, caught in the rain, right? So making decisions is a key skill, but keep in mind, you need to be flexible with your decisions and their outcomes. It's not like once you take a decision, it is set in stone. No, that doesn't happen that way. Let's have a look at two videos which I felt are beneficial on decision-making skills, right? Here we go.
There are lots of ways to make a decision. You could flip a coin. You could follow your heart. Or you could just make a choice at random and hope for the best. That's probably okay for small decisions, but what about more important ones? It's better to think carefully about your options and consider the many paths you could take. With the right tools, you can learn to do this objectively, so you can make decisions that you feel good about. Here are some strategies that can help. The first step to making any decision is simple. Identify the problem. As an example, say you're trying to choose between two different apartments. One is cheaper, but farther away from work. The other is closer and nicer, but much more expensive. Which one would you choose? Depending on what you value, you probably have some idea. This initial response, the one tied to your instincts and emotions, is perfectly valid. However, you should also try to look at your options rationally. Start by comparing them. There are several ways to do this. For example, you could list all the factors that you're considering, things like price, location, and other amenities. Then choose the one thing that's most important to you.
Screen is not
With
clear.
that in mind, which option comes out on top?
Sorry, what was that?
The screen is not clear. It seems blurry again.
Sorry, that is more to do with the internet connection, I guess. How about the rest? Is it clear for you?
It's blurred.
It's blur actually.
Sir. It's not clear.
Blurred but manageable.
Okay, I've reshared it. Let's have a look.
You could go one step further and create a point system. Take that same list and turn it into a scorecard for each option. In this example, that means apartment 1 would score high on affordable rent, let's say a 10, but much lower on location. Apartment 2 would score about the opposite. Keep going down the list until you've scored every item, being as objective as you can. Then add up the totals, and maybe you have a winner. Looking at it another way, you could evaluate one option at a time with a list of pros and cons. It sounds simple, but sometimes it helps to write these things down. This time, it's okay to be subjective. Certain factors can and should carry more weight than others. It's how you feel about them that counts, so be honest about what these things mean to you. Imagining possible outcomes might give you some perspective on the decision. Say you're thinking about adopting a dog. What do you think the consequences might be in a month? In a year? How about several years from now? Making decisions can be a roller coaster ride, especially when there are long-term consequences to think about. We can't see into the future, but we can try to be prepared. At this point, it's normal to feel overwhelmed, even stuck. With so much to consider, how do you know you're making the right choice? There are two more techniques that can help you fire up your brain and trick it into thinking differently. Try this one, the 2-minute diversion. Distract yourself with a 2-minute activity that you find moderately difficult. Maybe you like playing mobile games or solving math problems for fun, whatever works for you. Believe it or not, you'll continue to process the decision unconsciously, according to brain imaging research by Carnegie Mellon University. This brief window of time helps you internalize important details, so you can make better, more insightful decisions. Sometimes it helps to step outside yourself and pretend you're helping someone else. Studies show we're able to think more objectively in third person. That's why it's easier to give advice than it is to receive it. If a friend or family member was struggling with the same decision, what questions would you ask them? What compromises would you suggest? Really think about it. Adopting a different point of view might help you see the situation in a whole new way. Making decisions isn't like taking a test. There are no right or wrong answers per se, it just depends on the situation. Focus on taking the time to think about your options and what you hope to achieve, so you can feel confident about the choices you make. It's not as easy as flipping a coin, but it's worth the extra effort.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
GCF Global, creating opportunities for a better life.
I really hope that was clear, visible. I had two participants, I believe, Afia and
Introducing
Maimuna,
SpeechAlarm, the most natural sounding text-to-speech.
who raised their hands. Wait. Afia, I believe. All right. Well, guys, no questions. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Okay, lovely. Well, we have 45 more minutes, so let's get cracking. Okay. So the next thing that we are going to be looking at is called as self-motivation. Guys, what do you think self-motivation is? Guys, non-participants, please go on mute.
As far as I know, self-motivation is nothing but pushing ourselves. Like that is what, if I am feeling like I'm not doing it, so what I'll have to do is I'll have to motivate myself to get the things done.
Absolutely. And why do you think that is a good habit?
That's how we can get to the next level.
Exactly. And how do you think that helps others around you?
Whenever we see somebody is demotivated, we'll go and we'll just have to tell them something which motivates them and which gets them out of it.
Absolutely, you're right. It also helps you be resilient in your life and be adaptable to change, right? That is why self-motivation is quite important. Okay, let's have a look. I'll try to change some of these settings. Hang on. And let's see how this goes. Let me see if I can close all videos and try again. Okay, let me know once you can see it.
Yes, we could barely see it.
That's because it hasn't started yet.
Oh, sorry.
No problem, yeah.
तो मैं अगर आपसे पूछूं, where do you see yourself in 2025? And maybe you have the answer, maybe you don't. And I don't know you.
It's a new year, and many of us like to make resolutions to better ourselves. So, Greg, do you have any resolutions this year?
Yeah, I want to learn the full Justin Bieber sorry dance. I want to be more vulnerable in my relationships with people and be more productive at work.
Okay, well, those are awesome, but they might be hard. So here are 8 tips that we're going to use to help stay motivated this year.
Get enough sleep. Your willpower is an inexhaustible resource, and this is known as ego depletion, and a good night's sleep is the essential key aspect of keeping your willpower high.
How'd you sleep last night?
Awful, barely got any Z's.
Oh, weird. I slept really great.
Timbits?
Oh, no thanks.
Yeah.
Get started, have a goal, and just do it. Something known as the Zeigarnik effect nags us until we complete a task that we already started. So simply starting a task means you're more likely to finish it. Mitch. What? Remember you were going to finish writing the script on motivation today? Fine.
Surround yourself with people who motivate you. We're often told that peer pressure is bad, but in the case of making new habits, the people around you can really help you. Guys, let's go up!
Let's do it!
Healthy!
Take breaks. Instead of working for 2 hours straight, try and focus for only 25 minutes with a scheduled break after. This is known as the Pomodoro technique. This technique is known to enhance mental agility, and I mean, any excuse for a dance party, right?
Make sure you eat right. Think back to a day when you were really productive. What did you eat that day? Our bodies convert food into glucose, which provides energy to our brain to stay alert. But unfortunately, not all foods are metabolized equally. Foods high in sugar release their glucose quickly, giving a rush of energy to the body that then slumps off. While foods high in fat like a burger provide sustained energy, they also are a lot of work on our stomachs, which decreases the amount of oxygen in our brain and makes us feel tired. A tip to making better snack decisions is to pick what you are going to eat before you get hungry.
Turn your goal into a new habit. Often our goals don't work out because they're not specific enough. Instead, break that goal down into a habit. So if your goal is to try and save money, maybe you can start making your own coffee instead of buying it.
Wait, you can make coffee? For me, I like to break up my day into specific tasks instead of jumping all over them all the time. So for example, I'll do an hour and a half of something that involves being creative, then an hour and a half of communication, and an hour and a half of research. And that way your brain can focus on specific tasks at hand.
Start on a Monday. Research suggests that we may be more likely to follow through with our goals if we start on a Monday. Temporal landmarks actually help us to separate our past failures. So a new week, a new me.
So we hope that those tips will help you stay motivated and execute your goals this year. And let us know in the comments below what your goals are, because we're curious and maybe we'll add them to our goals.
You can follow us both on Instagram and Twitter to see if we actually stick to our goals, and subscribe for more awesome videos.
So guys, how was that? And what would be your primary takeaway from that?
It was very fruitful. Takeaway from this is like we can break down our.
Guys, go on mute. Person with the baby. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, someone was saying something. What was the primary takeaway from here? Okay. Mars was saying motivation is a driving force. What about the rest? Think before you do. Thank you, Syed Yaseen. And anyone else have anything more they want to add in?
Take break after every 25 minutes.
Absolutely, yeah. A quick break helps us out.
Pomodoro technique.
Absolutely, yes. But if you ask me what was the most important one, I would say, well, get started, right? If you don't get started, no matter how motivated you are, you're not going to be able to complete anything. So for me, well, getting started is the most important aspect. Well, that's my personal takeaway. And of course, what everyone else said is also accurate. All right, guys. Any other questions? Shall we move on to the next one?
Yes.
Okay. You're done with motivation. Now let's have a look at leadership. Okay, guys, what do you think leadership is?
Being able to stand up in a situation and take charge when and as required, and also to lead people.
Absolutely, that's correct. Anybody else have any other points?
Ability to handle a specified task.
See, if you handle a specific task, don't you think that is, well, a hard skill where you're really good at maybe coding or, I don't know, debugging or performance testing? I think what you are trying to add in is make others also do the task and help you achieve a common goal.
Yeah, to mingle with the team and to ensure that the teamwork also is being done.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's a pretty good definition of it. Anybody else has any other opinion you want to share?
Yes, Hidayat here. To create a positive environment within the team.
That's a good one, Hidayat. Yeah, a positive environment where everybody can, contribute equally and succeed.
Yes, the team members will look up to the leader or to the manager, where each and everything will be monitored and see. They take so many things from the manager. So as a leader, we should create a positive energy, a right attitude towards work, where people can learn from the leader or manager.
Wow, that's a pretty deep one. Good one. I liked all of your responses. So let's have a quick video. And well, let's see if this plays well for you guys.
What will you do with your term plan if your financial responsibilities are over? Now, you can exit your term plan at specified time and get all your...
Would you consider yourself a leader? A leader is an admirable position to take up. Leaders have power, and they have more control over where they want things to go. People look up to leaders, and while they're given more responsibilities, they often reap more of the rewards. But not every person can actually be a leader. Leadership takes skills and hard work that do not always appeal to every person working towards their goals. If you do want to step up and be a leader, though, consider using some of these tips to help you stand out. Tip number 1, learn from other leaders. Are there leaders that you admire? You should try to learn from them. There are plenty of books available that detail lessons from leaders throughout many industries throughout history, and the journeys that leaders take are not all fun and games. Take some time to read about the failures, the obstacles, and the challenges that your favorite leaders have faced throughout time. You may find some common lessons and experiences that will help you on your own journey to becoming a great leader. Tip number 2 is that it takes work to build skills. Leadership requires different skills depending on what industry you work in and what task you have at hand. Talk to leaders in your industry and learn what skills are necessary to get in the position you want to see yourself in. Then take the time to actually work and build on those skills. Leaders often have to work behind the scenes to prepare themselves for a leadership role. Even if you're not being directly praised for any education or development required to build your skills, know that this work will pay off. Tip number 3 is to believe that you are a leader. If you bring the energy of a leader to a group, the group will come to accept your position. Before you walk in a room, prep yourself up and tell yourself that you are a leader, that you're strong, that you're confident, and that you have the skills to take on the toughest responsibilities. People will be able to see whether or not you are a leader just by your body language, so your brain has to believe it first. If you walk into a room with your head held high and your shoulders back, it will show confidence. Proper posture is key to communicating what your position is to others. Make yourself big and maintain strong eye contact and a strong handshake when introducing yourself to others. If you come into a situation with confidence, people will naturally follow you and believe that you can take on the responsibilities. Tip number 4 is to take up more tasks. If you can, lend a helping hand. If another leader is delegating tasks that you know that you can excel in, you should go ahead and volunteer. If you know a leader that is really struggling to look for volunteers, go ahead and step up. The more you make yourself present in an organization or a business or a team, the more people will get to know you and that they will know that they can rely on you. Even if you take on just small tasks at first, eventually you will build up to take on more and more responsibilities. Tip number 5 is to share your ideas. Leaders have to be able to put a plan into place. They have to have a vision. So don't be afraid to share your ideas with your team or a group. Sharing your ideas is like equivalent to taking up tasks. The more you are present within a team or a group, the more people will turn to you. Even if you don't have a solution yourself, you can find ways that your group can come up with a solution together. Try to ask questions that gather information and lead your team towards a solution. Go ahead and write these ideas down or have someone else write them down so that you can have a document to refer later on in the future. Tip number 6 is to actually listen to others. Not all leaders are made with large mouths. Before and as you start to take charge, listen to the people around you. This is extremely important in leadership. How do they feel about a situation? What solutions and skills can they actually offer? If you listen to other people, you can bring their ideas to the table and connect them with opportunities. So first, in order to be a leader, you will need people to be able to follow you. While some leaders can lead through fear and intimidation, you will get much further if your team truly believes they can benefit from following your lead. Show them that they can benefit from you by providing them with responsibilities, opportunity, and positive validation. Tip number 7 is to learn how to delegate. Leading is not equivalent to taking on every single task. In order to get more things done and make your team feel valued, you need to learn how to delegate tasks. Delegation requires planning and considering the skills of everyone on your team. It also requires the trust that someone else can do something equally or even better than you can, and that also means humility. Once you've gathered a list of tasks that needs to get done for a project to happen, see what you can assign to other people and who can actually do it in the best manner possible. Always accept help from your team if they offer it, but be sure to follow up with the people who have taken on each task. Also, something you should know is that sometimes people require training during the delegation process. As an entrepreneur myself, sometimes it's much easier to spend 8 hours training someone how to do something the right way than spending an hour each day fixing their mistakes for a whole year. Tip number 8 is to treat other leaders with respect. You might not be the only person trying to lead in your organization. In fact, you may be working with someone who is an assigned leader. So you should be respectful of the positions that everyone on your team has, even if you think that you could do a better job. Many leaders earned their position without boasting or bragging about the work that they have done to establish that kind of leadership. So don't undercut someone else's skills or their achievements just because you want to be a bigger leader. If you're not already a leader, you should be patient, share your ideas, and step up when it's appropriate, and then eventually wait for a position to open up for you to become a leader. And the last tip I have for you guys is to know that there are many different types of leaders. It might sound like a cliche, but don't be afraid to be yourself when you're establishing yourself as a leader. There's not just one type of leader, and your team may benefit from a group of leaders that have different management styles and different skills that help them lead. Your group is most likely not a dictatorship, so share this stage with other leaders and find a way that you can be your own type of leader to have the maximum benefit to your group. Also, if you're interested in self-development and growing yourself or your business, I want to let you know about a mastermind group that I recently created, something called Practical Growth Academy. If you're
Okay. Guys, what did you think of these? What would be your primary takeaway? Guys, welcome back. We're done with the video.
All of them were great points. You can be a self-made leader and you can be a leader that's been appointed by people. You should not be too boastful. Be responsible.
Absolutely. And at the beginning of the video, there was one important point. What do you think that was?
To engage, to
Yep. And there was one thing before that. What do you think that was?
Not everyone is having a leadership quality.
True, but to build it, there was something that was given. Well, let me give you the answer. The answer was continuous learning. If you remember, they mentioned how leaders are always learning. They're learning from other sources, they're learning from their peers, they're learning from the subordinates, they're learning from other leaders, they're learning from their managers, right? So self-learning is key to leadership. And guys, as you all know, leaders are usually the number one in their field, right? And the only way you can lead someone is by being in front, literally the way this arrow mark shows, right? So to be here, the guy in orange in front of all those blue, you need to be at the forefront of your field. And the only way to do that is through continuous learning. Okay. Keeping that in mind, if you have any questions around leadership, do let me know, else we can move on.
We can move on.
Okay, lovely. All right, so something that works very closely with leadership is teamwork, all right? Leaders generally are not individual contributors, they're all team players, as we know, right? What leaders do is they ensure they motivate their entire team to go ahead and achieve a common goal using combined resources of, well, the entire team, the entire staff, etc., right? So that is what teamwork is. So if you're a good team worker, eventually, along with your learning and self-motivation, you end up being a leader. That's how it works. Right. Guys, any other points that you would like to share on teamwork? Any other opinions that you might have? Anything at all? Go on. Last 5 seconds. Okay. Let's watch a video on what good teamwork would be like. Okay. Guys, if you have a look, nature has some incredible, examples of teamwork, leadership, etc. Right? Even lions hunt in packs. They have self-taught pride. Sorry, go on. Sorry, I'm not able to get that. Okay. Guys, as I was saying, leadership is something that is very essential to drive teamwork, right? And teamwork has a lot of characteristics, including caring for your team and working towards a common goal, right? So it's not just humans that work in teams. Animals work in teams. As we all know, well, wolves and dogs hunt in packs. Lions help, live in prides. Elephants live in herds. Well, humans work in teams. So based on that, we all come to know that, teamwork is essential for survival, to achieve your goals, and to move up the corporate ladder. Okay. Any questions on teamwork?
No.
All right. So moving on, we are coming towards the end of our presentation, and we'll be looking at something called as problem solving, right? So problem solving and decision making go hand in hand, where you take a decision and sometimes you get into trouble because of your decision, right? So how do you get out of that? So what are some of the things that you can do? How do you creatively get out of it without having to, use run-of-the-mill or regular techniques to resolve your problems? Okay, so this video is quite useful. That helps us come up with, thinking out of the box solutions whenever you do land into trouble. Okay, have a look and let me know what you think.
CPS, or creative problem solving, is a natural thinking process for working through challenges originally described by Alex Osborne. CPS includes tools for improving performance within the process to help us reach more creative solutions to the problems that arise in life. We use CPS because it gets us to novel solutions, it keeps us focused and on track, and takes us to a point where we can actually make our creative ideas happen. We can employ CPS for any issues over which we have ownership and motivation and that require imaginative thinking. So it works with personnel challenges at home, in school classrooms, within organizations, and with groups or individually. CPS is divided into stages to move through one at a time, although you may find yourself at different starting points for different situations. The clarifying stage involves exploring the vision and formulating the challenge. These inform the rest of the process. It is important to have a clearly stated challenge to move forward. The ideate stage is where the ideas happen. The more ideas you have, the more likely you are to have a truly novel, useful idea. From this multitude of ideas, you then choose what you will do to address your challenge. Now it is time to develop your idea. Here, you analyze the aspects of the idea and improve upon it. This is the time to make it a truly workable solution. In the implement stage, you have a solution on hand, and you must explore acceptance and formulate a plan. In this stage, you work through the details of what needs to happen, by when, and by whom. In each stage, we employ both divergent thinking, generating many possibilities, and convergent thinking, narrowing down to the best options. There are a lot of different tools that help us through each stage. These tools help groups get unstuck when working with a difficult challenge, stay on track, be their most creative, and reach consensus. CPS is a facilitated process. When we choose someone to facilitate, it allows us to stay devoted to the process. The facilitator's main job is to run how the group works together and the steps they take. The facilitator does not participate in the content, meaning they do not generate ideas or give opinions. The only decisions they make are related to what the group does within the session. The facilitator is an objective person who is solely focused on helping the group to effectively and efficiently obtain their stated objectives. The facilitator is a very important role that takes knowledge and practice. The qualities of a good facilitator are open-mindedness, good thinking skills, awareness of the group's needs, and flexibility. A good facilitator is an expert in the process. They bring focus and structure, organize information, promote different viewpoints, ask for feedback, celebrate the progress of the group, and encourage participation from everyone. Throughout a session, they choose tools that will help the group to be effective, efficient, and of course, creative. A good CPS session leaves the client feeling productive, excited, and prepared to move into action to make their creative solution a reality.
Okay. Guys, coming back, this is called a CPS, or creative problem solving. What did you think of it? Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So what did you guys think about creative problem solving? What do you think is the most important step in, creative problem solving?
Identifying the problem.
Okay, what else? Anybody else? The 3 chats, let's have a look. Guys, what do you think is the most important aspect of creative problem solving? Well, if you ask me, the answer would be first understanding and acknowledging that you do have a problem, right? You can only solve a problem well if you agree there's a problem and then you work towards solving it. The second thing I would say would be to experiment and find out ideas from a larger group of people, brainstorming and utilizing those techniques to come to a solution that is acceptable to all and acceptable by all. All right. So moving on to the next one, we have time management. As you all know, time management is a critical skill. Believe it or not, we have been in the habit of time management right from the beginning, right? Even when you take your exams in your primary school, your high school, your college, you always have an eye on the clock. You got 3 hours and you got like 120 questions. You go ahead and end up, managing your time right from the start. Okay. But as we grow older, time management becomes more and more difficult. The reason is we have conflicting priorities, right? So should you work on a presentation that you're supposed to deliver tomorrow, or should you go out and have a mandatory party with a friend of yours, right? Should you focus on your work, or should you look after someone in your family who is ill, right? So all these are conflicting issues of time management that we face in our day-to-day lives, all right? There's a very short video which helps us prioritize. So I'd like you to have a look at this, and with this, hopefully we come to the end of the session, and I'd be happy to have any questions.
Did you know flight rates have reduced substantially? Book air tickets now, starting at rupees 11.
Okay, guys, was that clear?
Yes.
Okay, so as I was saying, it is all about prioritization, right? So as we saw in the video, if you were to do the smaller things like being on YouTube and spending time on Instagram, etc., you'll not have time for the bigger things. So the idea is to ensure that you put the bigger things in life first. It could be taking care of your family, taking care of your career, spending time, maybe praying, etc. The primary things need to be done first, right? So once you do that, you will have sufficient time to look at things which are tertiary and secondary in that order, right? Let's have a look at what prioritization is and how we can succeed by ensuring that we get our priorities straight.
is audible.
Sorry?
Hello.
Tell me.
Yeah. Are you still there?
Yes. Have a look at the video. Okay. Guys, coming back, what did we learn from this?
Yes, priority.
Yeah, so focus on the bigger things in life. It could be taking care of your family, progressing yourself, finishing your exams, your education, work-life balance, etc. And then you could look at, helping out friends wherever required. And then you could look at the final thing that we all spend time on. Basically, social media can be your last thing, right? So prioritization is essential to time management. Time management has changed in the 21st century, and especially when you're working from home, plus juggling a lot of other things, that, becomes conflicting. So please ensure that, you put first things first so that there is ample time for everything else. All right. Guys, with this, we come to the end of our session with 7 minutes to spare. I am now open for questions. If you have any questions, you can, shoot them out. I'll try to answer them, and anybody else can also answer them. Right, let's get started. Okay. Well, how do you manage your time, sir? Well, Syed Yaseen, I use the same thing that's here on this video. So I do the first thing first, and then I focus on things which are not very important. I, of course, also delegate things to my team, which I feel do not need my inputs directly. So that's how I manage my own time. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Nazim, for your inputs. Anybody else?
Welcome. Thank you, brother.
Okay.
Keep it up. Fantastic.
Thank you. There was a question here whether this video presentation would be available. I believe it would be available. I'm happy to share the PPT I created. There's no problem in that. So I'll leave it to the organizers here to, pass it on or share it as required. Okay. Now over to the organizers. If we're all done, I believe we can conclude our session.
Can you share the PPT here in the
Sure,
chat?
we can.
Thank you.
Okay. And guys, before you go, lastly, okay, make sure you focus on your soft skills, everything that we learned today. Everything is important, right? Especially when you are at the lower level and when you are, joining an organization and things like that, it is essential that you hone your skills. Trust me, as you get higher, it takes a lot more patience, a lot more perseverance to climb the ladder, right? So ensure that you have your fundamentals straight. That is essential. All right. And finally, here are some of the things and tools and websites that I looked at to create this presentation. And on the final slide, we have a short survey. Please fill it out if you want to, get more involved and stuff like that, right? I'm going to paste it here. This is more of a thing which says, if you want to participate more, things like that, please go ahead and be a part of it. Okay, it's a Google Form survey. Right. Anyone has any questions, or are we good to wrap it up?
Okay, Jazakumullah, Yaseen bhai. It was
Thank you,
really
Yaseen bhai.
Very informative and very useful and very eye-opening for all of us. And inshallah, we will utilize all these learnings in our
daily life also. And thanks to all the participants. With this, we can close, Yaseen bhai, inshallah.
Yes, we can. Thank you, sir, for
thanks a lot, Yaseen bhai.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day ahead.